we hear so much about Tusla in recent months, but it's only when you meet the mothers that are affected by what's happening. It's only when you get a phone call and you go to a mother down the country whose children has been taken that day by two social workers, and you hold her in your arms and she's screaming. And I would have to say that the cries of those mothers in my arms is something that I'm going to take with me to the grave.
First of all, I just need to compliment you and all the other ladies who were involved in devising the report, coming up with the idea of the report. Actually, in one way, the report is quite amazing because it does something which is not done very often. It actually speaks to the people who are affected by what's going on. It doesn't take an academic view, it doesn't take a view of all the people who work in the field. What it actually takes is a view of the people who are affected. And I think that really, in that sense, it is a really valuable report. And it has some tremendous recommendations in it, which, as you referred to already, and have already been made in various different forums before, and maybe one or two added to it this time. So I think I won't say any more about the report, except to say that the whole report, and it's really sad that there are only women here listening to me, is actually about men. The problem that is generated is a problem generated by men. And these men are similar in style and behaviour to what we would have called the paedophile. And in their intimate relationships and in their family dynamic, they actually act worse than the paedophile. And that might sound pretty outrageous, but they do. I call them psychophiles because they befriend the mind of a mother and they twist the mother's mind until she doesn't know whether she is a mother or a partner or a wife or a slave. And she is unable to cope with the abuse and coercion and intimidation that she suffers on a daily basis. And yet, when she encounters the services, she gets the blame. And why does that happen? It happens for two reasons. First of all, the transfer of blame is the first step that the man does in the relationship, whereby he gets the woman to examine her own behaviour rather than his. And the second thing is that she accepts the blame and tells everybody that she is the problem. And where does that leave us? It leaves us tidying up the mess that's generated by men who are never met by the system, who don't go to meetings, who don't get called in by the social workers, who don't get addressed by barristers or solicitors. Instead of that, these men walk the streets with their heads held high. The reasons why they do it is that they can hold their head high because they are never sanctioned. They live in a life that is driven by entitlement and arrogance. And you may well ask, where does the entitlement come from? It comes from their belief that sexually they are superior than the women. And that gives them the entitlement, and having reaffirmed their entitlement repeatedly, they end up being extremely arrogant. In this arrogance, they assess their rights over others. So you have the Tusla, the Triad, as Anna calls them, the family law courts, and the Garda Síochána, all trying to deal with somebody who is asserting his own rights. They also are manipulated by these people, and sadly to say, the manipulation goes on in every form of court proceedings, but it is even more damaging when it involves women and children, whereas when these people who are entitled come before the judge for issues of false claims or fraud or anything like that, they don't manage to manipulate the judge at all. But I've been in the courts. I attend a court as a Mackenzie friend or as an expert witness, and I have seen judges being manipulated, and I have seen my clients being told, shut up, it's all your fault. So if we're going to change, if there won't be another press conference in 100 years' time dealing with the same issue, what needs to happen is that we need to identify the problem. We need to take out the tumour that's causing all this angst and causing all this difficulty. The tumour must be diagnosed, must be examined, sliced up, looked into, and saying what the hell is going on with a vast minority of the men in this country, because what I'm talking about is rife. And I have permission to say this, but I don't know if you recall Clodagh Haw and her 3 sons. But if Clodagh Haw and her 3 sons had come to the services that this country has developed over the last 50 or 60 years, she would still be dead. And that's a very sad reflection on all of us and what we were supposed to do. So if we are to change anything, if we are to address the issue at ground level, which seems to be the only place to talk about it, there is no point in taking it to Parliament or to taking it to the higher academic places. Women need to get together, and we need, with the help of decent men, to protect the women and children of Ireland. And that's the only thing that will be of any benefit to the children, because if their mothers are not protected, the children certainly can't be. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Don.